Hello and welcome to the investment blueprint for passive investing, curated by experts at Motilal Oswal. I'm Muzammil and today we'll be helping you decode the fund offer document to help you understand, evaluate and choose one fund over the other with none other than Mr. Pratik Oswal. In our previous episode, we discussed the top reasons why passive funds are gaining popularity amongst young investors and acts as a good starting point for new investors. We also discussed why passive funds are relatively cheaper than active funds and the risk investors should be aware about. If you haven't checked out that episode, please do watch the first two episodes before watching this video. So Pratik, since there are so many passive funds out there by so many reputed AMCs with similar names and propositions, how should one go about selecting one fund?
So I think every investor, should ideally start their investing journey by, I think analyzing the fund proposition.
Yeah.
What is the fund name and what does the fund do and how does the fund really help with their overall asset allocation or their long-term needs?
Yeah.
And I think that can be done by understanding the fund offer. And second also is once they've selected that fund, they should also look at, the costs associated with the fund, what are the risks involved and other variables, which are very important for investors to go ahead with that particular fund.
Yes.
So I think these two are extremely important for investors to sort of start their journey of investing.
But when you say they need to have a look at the fund document, what exactly are we referring to? Because there's a lot of information out there. If I select a fund over another, where should I try to find that information?
Yeah, so I think, the fund document or, any AMC website, will have a fund section,
Okay.
Where an investor can really sort of find all the information that they need about that fund in one place.
Yeah.
So they don't have to really go out there and research and Google stuff out. They can
Okay.
just go to the AMC section, and these are all, components that are required by mutual funds to put for their investors.
Okay.
So every single thing that an investor sees is sort of regulated. So
Okay.
they and this is coming from an AMC website. So I think AMC website will have we'll also have a legal document that provides what is it, if it's index fund or an ETF.
Okay.
It talks about the investment objectives, the costs involved, the fees, and what the risks involved of investing in the fund as well.
Okay.
And I think overall, I think it's very important for investor to visit the website or visit any fund section for them to start their process of due diligence.
Definitely. I think this is a good starting point. A lot of us have never gone to asset management company websites to really look at the fund document. Considering Motilal Oswal also has a series of such documents on their webpage, would you be kind enough to take us through one of such?
Yes.
So that the interpretation of the content on the website is as clear as possible.
No, absolutely. I think we at Motilal Oswal our objective is to provide our investors with as much information so that they can make the right decision.
Yes.
And I think today I'm going to take you and all our viewer base to go through our Nifty 500 fund,
Yes.
Which we believe is one of the best options for investors looking at index funds. And I think I'll go through what is available online to our website. So basically, to start off with, I think when you go to the fund section on our website, you'll see an overview that talks about the fund name, fund objective. You can also look at other metrics like the turnover ratio, the AUM, how much is the fund, how big is the fund in terms of its size.
Yes.
It also talks about the benchmark and tracking errors. So for example, in a Nifty 500 fund, the whole objective of the fund is to track the returns of the Nifty 500 index.
Yes.
Which is the top 500 companies in India. So all that information as well as the tracking error will be there in the overview section. Then under overview, you'll also have a performance section.
Yes.
Where investors will be able to see what their potential as well as past performance
Okay.
of if you had invested in this fund, say 5 years, 10 years, 15 years,
Yes.
or 20 years ago. So I think it's very important for investors to look at performance. Obviously, investors should not look at short-term performance like 1 to 3 years, but if investors are long-term investors, then anything over 5 years is very good. So I think performance is something which, and also if someone is, say, planning for a goal, it's very good to look at past term performance.
Definitely.
And to sort of, they can use that information to accordingly plan their future needs. Third section is, again, very important, is the tracking difference.
Okay.
And I think this is a very important metric. As I've spoken in the previous episode, index funds, they're mandated to track the index.
Yes.
But if you, put in fees put in trading costs,
And
there will always be a very small difference between the returns of the index versus the
Definitely.
returns of the index fund. And I think ideally as an investor, you want to minimize this.
yes.
So in a mutual fund website, they are mandated to show what the tracking error or the tracking differences of the fund.
Okay.
And ideally, you want this number to be as low as
As
possible.
low as possible.
So that you will find in every single AMC website. The
Okay.
fourth is portfolio.
Okay.
And portfolio is basically, if you're buying a Nifty 500 index fund, what are the companies in your portfolio?
Yeah.
What are the top 10, top 15 companies? So I think that is something which you can also find at an AMC website.
Okay.
What is the names of the companies and what is your allocation to those companies?
For something like a Nifty 500, it would have the names of the 50.
It would have maybe the top 10 companies, say
Yeah.
Reliance or a TCS
Yes.
or all these large companies.
Yes.
The top 10 companies and their weightages will be there.
Okay.
And also, apart from that, you'll also have a sector breakup.
Okay.
So you will be able to see how your money is
Yes.
invested in different sectors.
Yes.
Say
Energy.
your energy,
oil.
utilities, or banking, or
Definitely.
consumer. So basically,
Okay.
you'll be able to see a very good interpretation of what companies, whereas what sector your money is invested in.
Makes sense.
So fifth is scheme details. So suppose you're buying a Nifty 500 index fund,
Yeah.
you'll be able to see what are the minimum investment required. What is the expense ratio of the funds?
Yeah.
When can allotment happen? So a lot of the scheme level details you can
Yes.
find in that section. Then you'll also have a riskometer.
Yeah.
This is
The
very important
most
for
critical
investors.
part, I would say.
I would say it's important but not critical,
Okay.
because I think riskometers can be designed in a better way.
Yeah.
But I think it's very important for investors to understand the risk
Yes.
between what they're buying. So I think in case of passive funds, you have different risk for a debt fund
Yeah.
versus an equity fund versus a hybrid fund. So I think the riskometer can give you a very good sort of picture about what category of fund you're investing in.
Yeah.
You'll also have a section for fund manager,
Yes.
where obviously in a passive fund, there is no fund manager picking the stocks.
Yes.
But the job of the fund manager is to make sure that the replication of returns happened. So I
Happens
think
time
you'll
to time.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Yes.
So I think the fund manager details are there. And lastly, you'll have a download section where you'll be able to download fact sheets, long presentations, your draft documents like your SID, which are all sort of regulatory documents, are all sort of attached there. So I think the download section can give you much more details about the fund that you're investing in.
Okay.
So this is the overall, I think 95% of all AMC websites will have this information.
Okay.
And I really push investors that when they are looking at it, in any mutual fund or passive fund, they should look at these details before investing.
Definitely. I will also go back and have a look at all the products that I've bought and have a look at the fund document. But there was this personal question I had. When it comes to passive instruments, how important is AUM? Because one of the criteria that you looked at was AUM. But when it comes to a passive instrument like a Nifty 50, the fund may have small AUM, but Nifty 50 in itself is credible enough to hold investments, right? So how important would you say the size of the AUM or the AUM of the fund is while
I
selecting?
think the mandate of a passive fund is to replicate the index.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if the fund is 10 crores or 1,000 crores.
Okay.
You're basically buying the index.
Okay.
So I think AUM is not as relevant for an index fund or ETF
Okay.
versus I think AUM in general talks about how popular that fund is.
Okay.
But I think it's not a good gauge of if it's a good fund or not.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. I think a lot of us would know now how to look at these parameters and also understand what they relatively mean. Like you already know that at the end of every episode, we want our viewers to do a task so that they can move ahead in the
Yeah.
journey with us. And this, I would like you to give away this episode's task as well so that we can track their progress.
Yeah, absolutely. So all our viewers, you can choose a passive fund of your liking. Download this offer document, go to our fund section on our website, and analyze the data to answer the following questions. One is, what are the fund's investment strategy and returns objective? What are the risks associated with investing in that particular fund? What is the fund performance, historical performance? How much does it cost to invest in a fund? What is the expense ratio? How large is the fund in terms of assets under management? What are some of the companies and the sectors that you see in that fund? And lastly, how does that fund fare in terms of performance vis-a-vis the benchmark? So these are some of the 5 or 6 questions that I think our viewers, I think all these questions are very critical for your investing. So before investing, you should look at these 5-6 criterias And I think based on this, you can evaluate this fund and maybe share a short summary, in a comment section about the fund. And I think that this is really helpful for you to really figure out if it's the right fund or not.
Yes, definitely. So, guys, for everyone who's watching this video by itself, I would like to remind you that Investment Blueprint is a 10-episode journey. We want you to watch all 10 episodes so that you can make complete sense about it. This is episode number 3. If you've not seen the first 2, please have a look at it. And I will urge you to send this video to all your friends, family members who want to get into investing or could get into investing, and you can help them not make all the mistakes that every new to market investor makes. So with that, I would take your leave and hope to catch you in the 4th episode. Thank you very much.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.